Tarkov's healing system is quite unique. There's not many games out there that can be used to compare it against, so I'm going to go ahead and go through and show you all the different things you need to know about how to heal yourself in Tarkov. I'm going to go over the basic meds, hit up some of the statuses that you need to heal, and then we'll even talk about things such as painkillers and some of the more common stims. So first off, your generic healing. So anytime something like your right leg or your thorax takes some damage, you're gonna have to heal it. Now in Tarkov, you have 6 different items that heal that kind of damage. You have your AI2s, your car kits, your IFAKs, your AFAKs, your Salewas, and your Grizzlies. As you can see here, each of these separate things have a different total amount of health that they're able to heal, with AI2s healing 100 at the least, and Grizzlies healing as much as 1800 total. They also have varying use times, as well as a max health that they're able to heal at one go. One thing to notice with this is you only actually have 2 things, your Salewa and your Grizzly, that are able to completely heal your thorax from 1 HP all the way to max. Now, one thing in particular about healing HP is even though something like the Grizzly takes 5 seconds to complete the animation, the fact that it heals up to 175 health in that 5 seconds means that you actually get more health per second than some of these other options. And when it comes to healing health, you actually heal health the entirety of the animation. So you can actually do things like cancel the animation by right clicking in order to make healing quicker. Just to kind of show you an example. Here you can see in my thorax about half health. If I heal and let it go, it takes a full 3 seconds of the AFAK. But something like my head here that only is missing 11 health, as soon as it becomes green in the top left corner, I right click and it stops the animation. Stomach, same thing. Start healing. Once my stomach goes green, top left corner, right click stops the animation. So I'm taking that 3-second animation that the AFAK normally has, and then I'm cutting it down to basically a second and getting it over with so I'm not stuck in an animation and possibly have an enemy push on me. Now when it comes to a body part that is zeroed, so it goes down to 0 health. Now this does not work on the thorax or the head. But any other body part that becomes zeroed, you can actually restore using a CMX or a Serve 12. Now there are some benefits to both of these. You see here CMS, 5 uses, but it takes 16 seconds per use, and it will restore a zeroed area to 1 HP with 25 to 45% of the previous max available. What that means is, say hypothetically, your stomach has 100 HP. If your stomach were to get black or zeroed and then use the CMS on it, after the CMS, the right number, so the total that you could fill it up to, would be somewhere between 25 45. Now, as for the Serve 12, it has 15 uses, but it takes longer. It takes 20 seconds to use, but it will restore a zeroed area to 1 HP with 60 to 72% of previous max available. So a little give and take. It's not as black and white as it is with like the healing. One thing to note too is a Serve 12 does take 1 extra square in your inventory. All right, so now that we've gone over the basic heals and what you can do if you do lose all the health in an area, we're going to talk about the little guys up here. Status symbols and how to get rid of those. So there's a couple main status symbols we're going to go over. First one is light bleeds. Now you do have a couple of things that are designed to just take care of light bleed. So you have your aseptic bandage, which is a 1 use for 2 seconds. And you have your army bandage, which is 2 use for 2 seconds. Either of these will get rid of a light bleed with 1 use of them. Now that being said, you do actually have 5 of the things that we previously talked about that can get rid of light bleed. For 50 HP of the car's available HP, it'll get rid of 1 light bleed. IFAK, AFAK for 30 HP, Salewa for 45, and Grizzly for 40. So here's where you take into the consideration that, hypothetically with the Grizzly, since it can heal up to 175 HP in one go, you could heal a light bleed and up to 135 additional damage to 1 hurt area at a time. And obviously your thorax has the highest and you'd only be healing up to 84 of that, but nonetheless you have that flexibility. Now something a little more pertinent, heavy bleeds. We have 3 things that are designed to take care of heavy bleeds, with one of them being the obvious choice that you want to go with. So we have our S-March, which is a single use, takes 5 seconds. We have our Cat Tourniquet, which is a single use, takes 3 seconds. And then we have our Colic B, which is a 3 use and it takes 3 seconds. All of these are single square items, so the obvious choice, the Colic B, 3 uses, 1 square. But as for with the light bleeds, we actually have 4 of the previous options healing that can also be used for heavy bleeds, but it's not as clear cut as it is with the light bleed. So we have our IFAK, which can heal a heavy bleed, but it'll take 210 of the 300 available HP that it has. We have our AFAK, same thing, but 170 HP. We have our Salewa for 175 HP of its 400. Then we have our Grizzly, which is probably the best option for 130 HP of its 18. You can see the heavy bleed does take a lot of toll on the thing that you're using it if you want to use this for multiple things. That is why it's very common that people will take in one of these and use it for light bleeds, but they will still bring something like a Colic B just for heavy bleed. Last, we have fractures. There are two things in game just to take care of fractures. You have your normal immobilizing splint, takes 5 seconds in single use. And then you have your aluminum splint, which is 5 uses and takes 3 seconds. Both of these are single square items again, the obvious choice, the aluminum splint. Now, as for previously talked about things, we actually do have two that can heal fractures. So your Grizzly can heal a fracture for 50 HP, and the Serve 12 can actually be used to heal fractures. So it'll take one of its 15 uses, but if you have an area that's zeroed and has a broken bone, it'll heal both of those for one of its use. So it's not like if you have a zeroed arm that's also broken, it won't take 2 uses to heal both. It'll take 1 use, it'll heal both things. So another hypothetical situation, that means in a situation like this, where if you have a right arm that has, hardly any health left, has a light bleed and a fracture, you could use the Grizzly one time. It'll heal the light bleed for 40, fracture for 50, and still have up to 85 HP used to heal the arm, and that will bring this pretty mangled arm back to fully healed in one single use of your Grizzly. Now, one thing to point out, even though you are able to quick heal by canceling the animation to heal hit points on certain areas, if you are taking away a status effect, as in any of these that we talked about with light bleed, heavy bleed, or fractures, you have to allow the animation to fully complete. Last two statuses that we're going to talk about are your Fresh Wound, which will replace a heavy bleed and stay for 240 seconds or until the wound is reopened and turned into a light bleed and then treated as a light bleed. Things that'll cause the wound to reopen will be like sprinting or taking additional damage. And lastly, the silent killer of all these, pain. Pain is caused by other status effects such as fractures. Pain will cause blurred vision, and if you have like a broken leg, that is actually what causes you to move slowly, but you can ignore the pain by using painkillers. So this is why you see a lot of people, they'll take painkillers before getting into a firefight if they know one's coming. And speaking about painkillers, go over the generic painkillers we have in the game. So all of these painkillers have some sort of negative for either hydration, energy, or both. So that's one thing to really keep in mind when you're taking these. Keep an eye on how much food and how much water you have, so you don't end up dehydrating yourself or something. I have these in a somewhat order from worst to best. The Nalgene and the Augmentin are definitely the worst choices of the 5 of them, with the low uses and not lasting that long. Once you get up to Vaseline, Ibuprofen, and Gold Star though, they are pretty interchangeable. They all do very well. Kind of mix and choose, kind of see which ones you exactly like. The one like little outside thing is Gold Star does cause you to have a contusion for 5 seconds after cause blurred vision and like a tinnitus type effect in your ear. And then talk about stims a little bit. So there is a bunch of different stims in the game, and a lot of newer players are really hesitant to start using them. So here are the main 5 that I think are kind of going to be the go-tos, ones that I would suggest using and really pertain to healing and being able to survive in the game. First off, morphine. It's just a painkiller. It's not the best painkiller, but it's very quick. With all these only taking 2 seconds to use, it is nice in a pinch. Propital, probably my favorite out of all of these. Use it all the time. It is a solid painkiller, which actually doesn't have any sort of like negatives to your energy and hydration, and it gives you health regeneration for 300 seconds after using it. Then we actually have a new one added, this wipe, Perforatorin. This doesn't have any painkiller attributes, but it does give you slightly more of a healing, Propital. Next, we have one that I feel like is extremely underutilized by people, especially newer players, the Zagustin. This will stop all bleed, make it so basically you can't get a new bleed for 200 seconds. Get into a big gunfight, you got 2 lights and a heavy. You pop this one time, 2 seconds, it's all gone. And then last but not least, you have your ETGC. So this is the shit hit the fan moment type thing. You pop this, it'll give you massive heals for 60 seconds. So hope this helps. If you guys learned anything, go ahead and comment down below, let me know. If you have anything else you want to add, by all means share with the community. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, appreciate it if you hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Come out with new videos every Friday. I also stream over on Twitch every Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. Till then, catch you guys next time.